Once you know the things that bring you joy, you've got to give yourself permission to prioritize them. It's as simple as that. And that's where the self-confidence comes in. Hi, my friend, and welcome to the Bounce Back Black Woman podcast. I'm Dell, and with God's help, I've overcome some of the toughest trials in life that I could ever have imagined. Do you find yourself struggling to move beyond a heartbreak or a hardship, asking God, why me? Well, I'm here to help women just like you heal and build the resilience to overcome life's greatest trials. If you long for joy and confidence again, this podcast is for you. So grab your headphones and those hardships. Let's talk. Hey there, my friend, and welcome back to Bounce Back Black Woman, the podcast where we talk about healing, self-confidence, and building resilience all through God's love. And if you've been following along with us, you know that we have reached the last episode in the Ruthlessly Intentional Series. And I don't know about you, but somehow this one feels special, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you. Over the past few weeks, we've walked through what it means to be ruthlessly intentional with our honesty, with our healing, and even with our forgiveness. And today, we're talking about something that sometimes feels out of reach after you've been through pain, and that is happiness. Because here's the truth. Happiness doesn't mean that your life is perfect. Happiness doesn't mean that your heart is untouched. And happiness doesn't mean that your story is all tied up beautifully and neatly with a bow. Happiness means that you've decided that joy is still going to be a part of your story, even after everything that you've been through. So let's talk about what it really means to be ruthlessly intentional about happiness and to stop waiting for that someday and start creating joy on purpose. There was a time when I didn't know what happiness even felt like anymore. I had been through so many losses and heartbreaks and life transitions, and I had learned how to survive. But for a while, I had kind of forgotten how to enjoy. And I remember a day when I was out running errands, the sun was shining, and a song came on the radio that used to make me smile a long time ago. And without thinking, I started to sing along. And the joy started to rise up in my soul. And then suddenly, I stopped. Because for a split second, guilt hit me. And I started thinking, how can I even be happy with so much that has gone wrong and so much that is uncertain and so much that seems scary? And that moment opened my eyes, friend. Somewhere along the way, I had started equating happiness with denial, as if having joy meant that I was forgetting my pain or somehow minimizing the losses I had experienced. And what I've learned since that time is this. Happiness is not denial. It's defiance. It's saying, God, I might have cried yesterday, but today I choose to smile. Today I choose to laugh. Today I choose joy. And that doesn't mean that I've forgotten. It means that I've forgiven. And in that car, I decided I am not waiting for life to be perfect to feel joy again. Because life is short, and joy is not a reward to be given at the end. Joy is a right to be enjoyed in the messy middle. So let's talk about it. Self-awareness, knowing what fills you. That's important because you can't pursue what you've not yet defined. And what really brings you joy, not what looks good on Instagram, not what everyone else calls self-care, but you need to know what really brings you joy, what fills your soul. For some of us, it might be quiet mornings with coffee and music, and prayer and journaling. For others, it might be laughter with friends, creating something with our hands, or just creating something new. Or maybe it's finally resting without feeling guilt. Ruthlessly intentional happiness starts when you know yourself well enough to actually name what makes your spirit light up, and then do it. Self-confidence. Trust what you need. Once you know the things that bring you joy, you've got to give yourself permission to prioritize them. It's as simple as that. And that's where the self-confidence comes in. You've got to believe that your happiness matters, that your peace isn't extra credit. It's actually essential to your own well-being. And that means that you don't have to apologize for protecting what makes you whole. Philippians 4:4 says, "Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice." And that's not a suggestion, my friend. That is a reminder that joy is part of your spiritual DNA, and it's a requirement. The joy of the Lord is your strength. Joy is something that God talks about frequently in the Bible. Self-discipline, knowing to protect what sustains you. Joy doesn't maintain itself. You actually have to guard it. That means that setting boundaries, saying no to drama, and staying mindful of what you consume emotionally, spiritually, and digitally all play a part in maintaining your joy. Because sometimes the thing that's stealing your joy isn't the big heartbreak. It isn't the big breakup. It isn't the big loss. It's the small daily drain that you've gotten used to just tolerating. Being ruthlessly intentional about happiness means refusing to live in emotional survival mode when God has called you into peace. So here's a faith reflection about happiness being a spiritual practice. Happiness isn't superficial. It's actually sacred. It's evidence that you've survived that which was meant to destroy you. John 15:11 says, "I have told you these things so that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be complete." And what that means, friend, is that joy isn't something that you earn or have to work to experience. It's something that you inherit as a daughter of God. When I finally started allowing myself to be happy again, it wasn't because everything was fixed. It was because I realized that I was still here, living, with breath in my lungs. And if God kept me here, then He must still have some goodness in store for me. And what good would it mean to be here without joy? Happiness for me became an act of worship, a way of saying, God, I still believe that you are good, even after everything, including the bad things. So when I laugh now, when I dance now, when I rest now, and when I say yes to the small joys of life, I see that as holy ground. And you should too, my friend, because joy is resistance to despair. And choosing joy is one of the most spiritual things you can ever do. So, sometimes happiness can hurt. And why, you might ask? It's because happiness can hurt when it reminds us of what we lost. You know, you finally start feeling good, and then that little whisper comes in the back of your head saying, you don't deserve this. You didn't earn this. You've done X, Y, and Z. But I'm here to tell you that that is a lie. And it's not a lie that's coming from God. You're not betraying your past by being happy. You are honoring your survival. You are honoring God's grace. and you're proving that what tried to break you did not win. So if joy feels foreign to you right now, I want you to start small. Smile when you feel like smiling. Say thank you when you open your eyes and wake up in the morning. Let happiness feel strange until happiness starts to feel safe again. Because it's not that you lost your joy. It's that you buried it under survival. And now it's time to move the dirt and dig it back up. So I want to leave you with this thought. Happiness is not a reward for healing. Happiness is actually the evidence of healing. And it's the fruit that grows after all of the pruning, all of the crying, and all of the forgiving. Here's the journal prompt. What does happiness look like for the woman that I'm becoming? And what is one small way that I can practice it this very week? My friend, don't wait for joy to find you. Life is too short for that. You have to be ruthlessly intentional about finding it for yourself, wherever that might be. And so, all right, my friend, this wraps up our Ruthlessly Intentional series here on the Bounce Back Black Woman podcast. And my goodness, what a journey it has been. We went from ruthlessly intentional honesty to ruthlessly intentional healing, moved on to ruthlessly intentional forgiveness, and finally ended with ruthlessly intentional happiness. And so if this series has blessed you, would you do me a favor? Please leave a rating or a review on whatever platform you listen. And share this episode with a friend who is ready to reclaim her God-given joy. And don't forget, if you haven't yet done so, head to bouncebackblackwoman.com or go down in the show notes of this episode and join my mailing list so that you can keep up with getting weekly encouragement from me, journal prompts, and updates on all of the things that are coming next. And when I tell you there's a lot of things coming next, I am not kidding. Because, friend, this is not the end. This is the beginning of a new chapter for you. One that is rooted in truth, wholeness, and joy. And so until next time, I want you to remember this. You are not broken. You are becoming. So keep bouncing back and keep being ruthlessly intentional. Well, that's it for today, my friend. I really hope this episode inspired, encouraged, or just plain comforted you. If so, please share it with a friend who might be struggling in her own healing journey. And if you take a moment to leave a quick review on Apple Podcasts, you'll help other women find encouragement through their heartbreak. Remember that God is holding your hand along this journey. And guess what? I'm holding the other. Life is short, so bounce back, Black woman.